All right, Sheriff.
You ready?
If I was Navajo, you can't touch me.
Yeah.
What if we just attack each other right now?
We'll have Tori.
Tori takes care of business.
The Navajo Nation has only 150 sworn officers, and it's the size of West Virginia.
So you've been wanting to travel all the miles, add the dash of salt?
This is what they call Sentinel Mesa. I live on the other side of it.
Sovereign nation.
Sheriff, what is crime like these days on the reservation?
High school wrestling team.
That explains your very firm handshake. Ouch.
They want me part of their community. They're depending on me. How do you not stay motivated to help them?
Former Miss Navajo Nation. But once Miss Navajo Nation, always Miss
Always.
Navajo.
That is a big corridor for drugs from the border.
Would there become a point where you're like, this is too much risk to take on? Good morning, guys. I've been told by many natives that life on the reservation is like life in a different country, and each tribe is like a different nation. So today we're gonna meet up with the Navajo County Sheriff, who's gonna bring us in and explain to us how the law works differently. For example, me, if I get pulled over on Navajo land versus a native, there's all sorts of interesting nuance taking place, all under the great auspice of the United States. But like I said, countries within countries. Super fascinating what I've discovered these last few weeks. I want to bring you guys into it. Let's do it. Okay guys, we're meeting with Sheriff David Klaus, who's agreed to take me around. I think he's gonna show me around, but I gotta put the camera down here. I'm just coming up on law enforcement. I'd rather have the camera down for a bit and we'll resume. Okay, great, we're in guys. Sheriff agreed to give us a ride along. All right, Sheriff.
You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Sheriff David Klaus and Tori, nice to meet you. So Sheriff, you're saying you're 6th generation Arizonan?
Yes. We're here in Navajo County, one of the first settlements outside the reservations, the community called Snowflake. And my great-great-grandfather founded that community. My great-grandfather was a deputy sheriff for the Navajo County Sheriff's Office in the 30s. And then my grandfather was a sheriff when I was a little boy.
So you're rooted
Yeah,
here.
2nd generation sheriff, 3rd generation law enforcement.
So this is interesting. I think most people would think on a reservation you're not going to see McDonald's, Chevron, Burger King, but it's normal here.
Just here, yeah.
Just here in this town.
Yeah. So they're still big in their mask mandates here.
Yeah, and just for the record, this is October, what are we, I lost date, 22nd or something? 26, 2022, and the mask mandate full effect.
Sovereign nation. So that's probably something you'll want to get into.
Yeah, we'll get into that today
Yeah.
for sure. So
But
it's like its own nation.
It's its own nation, so they can set a lot of their own health mandates, rules like that. Although we're in the state of Arizona, we're in the county of Navajo, the Navajo Nation still has a mask mandate. Arizona does not, Navajo County, and we've never had one. You need some sugar?
So Navajo's like country music?
Oh yeah. We're eating some traditional fry bread here.
That's like the fair almost, right?
Yeah. You want to try some?
I'll give it a go.
It's just bread, you know.
Okay. Thank you. It's pretty straightforward. Just bread?
Yeah. Obviously, the Navajo people have been here for who knows how long. Navajo bread, according to them, is not really a traditional food, and it makes sense when you hear the story. So when the U.S. government started making its way out here, claiming territories, and they sent out the army first, right? And they had these forts set up. They rounded up the Navajos, and They just put them in camps or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or they moved them out to Oklahoma. Remember the Trail of Tears
Sure.
and all that? Well, all they gave him was like lard, flour, water, grease. And so that's when they started making fried bread.
Okay. And then they
And so-
became addicted. How does the jurisdiction work? There are Navajo police, reservation police, right? Then there's the county sheriff, which is you.
So you got Arizona, which we're in the state of Arizona. The Constitution of the state of Arizona was built around counties and then the office of sheriff.
Okay.
So sheriff is your chief law enforcement officer for each of these counties. It's an elected official, it's an elected position. Federal government really doesn't have a role in law enforcement, especially in Arizona. The role that they play would be border security and federal FBI, which, you know, across state jurisdiction, stuff like that.
Sure.
When you get on the Navajo Nation, all that changes. In Navajo County, we have 3 tribal governments. We have the Navajo Nation, we have the Hopi tribe, and then we have the White Mountain Apache tribe. So Apache, Hopi, and Navajo. Some of the 3 larger and more historic tribes.
Okay.
A lot of great history there. So the federal government means that these are considered sovereign nations. The federal government has a lot of interaction with the tribes, not the state.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay? So the Navajo Nation crosses 3 states, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and it crosses in 11 counties. And so you got to think they have a lot that they're working with there. So law enforcement on the Navajo Nation is a little different than some of the other tribes because it's larger. A lot of them are just ran through BIA, Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Okay, yeah.
They don't use BIA. They kicked BIA out a couple decades ago because they just went to their own law enforcement services. So on the Navajo Nation, you primarily have 2 jurisdictions. 3, we'll add us. You have the FBI, the Federal Bureau, which across the country, they handle all major crimes on Indian country. Then they have the Navajo Nation Police Department, which handles all like misdemeanor type crimes. So where do we play into all that? So you just went into Chevron with us. You saw some we'll just call them non-tribal members.
Yeah.
We'll just talk of the 2. You have a tribal member, which is a member of the Navajo Nation, or you could even be a Hopi or Zuni and you're on tribal land, you're still a tribal member. So all natives, regardless if they're on their home tribe or not, they're only under the jurisdiction of the federal government,
Okay.
not the state government.
Okay.
So that sovereignty carries over from tribe to tribe. We're here in Monument Valley, so you have a lot of tourists. You got people from out of state, out of country, in state. So say somebody that's come from Holbrook or Winslow is driving through here, they're not a tribal member, and they commit a crime here, they fall under my jurisdiction.
Okay, so if I committed a crime here, you're coming.
I'm coming for it.
Okay, but if I was Navajo, you're not coming.
I can't.
You can't touch me.
Yeah.
Wow, that's got to be difficult.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Coordinated.
It's coordinated. We have a great relationship with the tribes. We have a great relationship with the courts. But if you commit a crime, say you're a tribal member, you commit a crime off tribal land, you're under my jurisdiction.
Yeah.
And I can charge you under state law, state crime.
Yeah.
But you leave and I don't apprehend you and you come up on the Navajo Nation, I cannot remove you off the Navajo Nation.
So say you're in a police chase and that Navajo resident he's off the reservation, he gets onto reservation land, you have to stop.
That's accurate.
All right, look at this, guys. Monument Valley. One of the true wonders of the nation, wouldn't you say?
And of Arizona.
I've never been here. Wow.
And you want a little funny story?
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, this was shut down. They didn't have it open a lot. Then they slowly opened it at one point. But these vendors are all local.
Okay.
So down there, so they're locals that'll make food.
These guys in the cars?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they sell jewelry, they sell blankets, they sell pottery and food.
Sure.
And so we brought all the sheriffs here during the pandemic, and we had a photo here, and we had a meeting here. It's just a cool place, right? Tori was here, and we know we had eaten, and there was this lady down there selling what was it, Tori? A spam?
Spam sandwich.
Spam sandwich. And Tori ate one.
How was it?
It was delicious.
She was that
okay.
It was because Sheriff Redmond shut the whole
Yeah, they were
thing
mad.
down. They were upset because they weren't making money.
Because they were like, why is nobody coming today? Why is it? Because they closed it for us.
Oh.
And so there's no tourists. And so Tori felt bad. And so she bought a sandwich off of them.
Well, she had fry bread on the menu, but she said all she had was a spam sandwich.
So Tori, can I ask you a question? Is
Sure.
that cool? So you grew up within the Navajo Nation,
No.
but no, okay.
No, I grew up in Taylor.
Where's that? Where's that?
It's where I live.
Okay. But your parents.
My dad spent some time on the Hopi
Okay.
reservation, but
So do you have any connection when you come onto the reservations or not really?
no.
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 You don't feel it.
She's not your best sample. She grew up in Snowflake, Taylor.
Chief.
Sheriff, what is crime like these days on the reservation? Let's say comparatively to years in the past, or is it a high crime area? Is it pretty low, or?
Oh, I think certain communities are higher than others. It's always been something that they've struggled with. When I go to local chapter meetings and stuff like that, you got to remember the reservation is a dry reservation, which means no alcohol.
Okay.
So there's a lot of bootlegging that goes on. Of
Sure.
course, they have the same troubles with drug trafficking. When you think of the Navajo Nation has only 150 sworn officers, and it's the size of West Virginia.
Wow.
Probably 1,500 to 2,000 square miles for one patrol area, 1 or 2 officers. So they're 2-hour responses to several things. And a lot of calls don't even get responded to.
Okay.
And so I'm not saying there's a higher crime rate, it's just there's not as much police presence.
Yeah.
So you're seeing that in the larger cities of America when
Yeah.
they're not taking crime seriously and they're letting these smash and grab robberies happen. What are we seeing? We're seeing crime rate go
Yeah.
up. Same thing's happening on the Navajo Nation.
Okay.
Not that the people are more violent or anything like that. There's just no law enforcement presence.
Right. No accountability, so people can get away with it
Yeah.
easier. Like, are there people living, like we're seeing way out there? Are there people living out there in those places?
Those are people that live out there.
Oh, just the roofs there.
The rooftops there.
So I mean, it's just the Navajos, from what I'm gathering, like to live apart from one another. They like a lot of space.
They're pretty remote. I mean, they have a lot of land. And kind of how that works is if I'm a Navajo member and I say I live way down in Window Rock and I wanted to move up here, I just can't move out there. You have to show ties that this is your homeland, that your family settled here. That I just can't come homestead on it.
Okay.
Cool. Well, we couldn't pick the better spot. Right?
Yeah. Appreciate it. I say I got arrested. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm
Did
just
you
playing.
remember we came up here with all the horses, all the sheriffs did
Oh,
last
no.
summer?
No.
Last
Were you-
September.
Were you working here? Here's a keychain for this.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Scoot back.
We'll come out towards this way.
Sheriff, here's a crazy question. Say hypothetically, you attack this nice gentleman. What happens with law enforcement?
It'd be local PD.
Local PD would come in and cuff you.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's trying to learn the jurisdiction thing where the sheriffs.
He's not gonna attack you. He's a very nice guy.
But he's trying to learn it. So let's put, if you attacked him,
Okay.
I would arrest you.
If he attacks me,
If he attacked you,
can't do
I
anything.
can't do anything. But I do have a cross commission with the tribe. I can detain him and wait but I can't arrest him. I can't take him to Holbrook or anything like that. But I can take law enforcement action, if that makes sense.
What if we just attack each other right now?
We'll have Tori.
Tori takes care of business.
So does
No,
it-
we're just learning, sir, how it works.
I'll take a picture of both you guys.
Okay, all right.
That's okay.
Let's do it. All right.
1, 2, 3.
This is what they call Sentinel Mesa. I live on the other side of it.
Oh, wow. Amazing stars at night here, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing skies.
We also encountered some abnormal, paranormal stuff out here. We see like abnormal lights flying from that rock way over there, coming off onto the side.
A lot of reservations, they have the little men,
But they
Some
have
interesting story.
more of skinwalkers.
skinwalkers.
Yeah, what they have shapeshifters, and you get a lot of that around here. And sometimes when it comes to it, when you see those, they're bad. Bad spirits.
Okay.
So some locals, how they do that is that they sell their loved one's soul to
Ooh.
the devil,
Okay.
and that's how they become powerful to be into shape-shifting, into animal, to human, back to animal.
To move spirits between the different life
Yeah.
forms.
Yeah, that happens around here.
That's interesting. So I was saying that it's almost impossible to get law enforcement on camera, though I've gotten a sheriff on camera. And you're saying sheriffs are easier because
their office of law enforcement is so unique and so different than anybody else. Federal government's very tight-lipped.
yeah,
Federal law enforcement.
they're not going to open up.
They're not going to open up. The sheriff is elected by the people, from the people. The power comes from the people, and the authority is from the state of Arizona, granted to us by the people in an election. We don't answer to city councils. We don't answer to a manager. We answer to the people. And so there's a lot more access to a sheriff. And the sheriff's, that's our job, is to report back to the people and to let them know what's going on in their community. But there are some states where they're trying to do away with the sheriff.
Okay, so is it because the sheriff is very much a localized thing, and
Yeah.
they're trying to make it more
They don't
centralized?
they don't like the power that the sheriff has, and I say those that are trying to control everything. You know, if you have a governor, or if you have a state legislature that doesn't not like the way that certain counties are running, they like to have that control very.
Okay, so the sheriff department is like the opposite of centralization.
Correct.
Okay.
Local,
It's all about local representation.
local control, local
Okay.
representation.
Which in a country like ours that's so huge with so many different cultures and ways of looking at life, I think is important. So this is a voting booth, right? Is that what's
So-
going on? Oh, it's
no,
blown
this is-
away.
It's blown away. So this is the chapter house, senior center. So this is kind of the central hub for, in each community, this is where the people can come get water. This is where they have monthly meetings. I'm David Klaus. I'm not on there.
He's like, vote for me.
You want a picture? We'll take a picture. Peter's with me. He's doing a story on the sheriff's office and stuff. And so we just been kind of driving around, looking around. And we saw the tents. We said, hey, that's the place to be.
You missed out on all the Navajo tacos.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we just served the last of it.
I haven't had one.
Oh, man.
So you've been wanting to travel all the miles?
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
And you can add the dash of salt.
Okay, that's how you do it? That's how you do it?
And then you can add cheese. I think we got a little bit of cheese here.
Okay.
If you want that?
Yeah, if you
And
want
then
some
you're
stew.
healthy.
He wants some mutton stew.
Oh, man.
You're the full Monty here. Thank you, ladies.
That's all we got left. Cheese. You got the last. Here's the cheese or the. But you know what? I like dipping it in bean juice. You guys want some bean juice?
Oh, yeah.
Chili
fantastic.
beans, and you can dip it in there.
Do you mind here?
And that's your first rodeo right on the rally.
It's
here.
my first rodeo.
That's you got it.
Did you make this?
Yes, all night long,
Yeah?
singing away with it. Yeah.
You sang a nice song? Did you
Yeah,
make a dance?
there you go. Yep, I did.
Oh, yeah.
See? It's awesome that see the neck. I don't know.
Ma'am, that's beautiful.
Oh.
Your language, I've never heard that before.
Never. Are
It's
you
beautiful.
kidding me?
Well, I don't live out here. I live in
okay.
Florida. Do you speak your language a lot in your daily life?
Oh, yes.
Every day.
Oh,
Okay, what about younger people? Are they speaking so much or not as much?
not as much.
Not as much. But with the older people, like this gentleman?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yes. So you picked that up already, didn't you? Oh, it's yes. So every time
Oh.
you ask me a question and I say, oh, and then I referred it right back to yes.
So what would you say for hello? How about hello?
Yate.
Yate.
Oh,
Yate.
got it. Right off the
Yate.
bat. There you go.
So you grew up here?
Yeah, I grew up in Chinle, and then Luther's my Nolly. I'm his Nolly, clan-wise.
Okay.
Grandpa.
Oh,
My
okay.
paternal grandpa.
Oh,
Clan-wise.
clan-wise.
Yeah, because we get 4 clans.
What do you mean by clan-wise?
My paternal grandpa, my dad's dad.
Uh-huh.
Okay, he's a couple of hundred Edgewater, which is the same clan she is.
So
based on
clan
that-
is like greater family?
Yes, I mean, I'm a salt clan.
Okay.
I'm a salt clan. My mom's a salt clan. We carry the clan of the mothers.
Okay.
My dad's a traveling, wandering person clan, explorer clan.
Okay.
Some refer to as Mexican clan. So I'm salt clan, born for Mexican clan. Now my mom's dad is Sitna Ginny, the Wood Street clan.
So that's so cool. They're very. Is that normal? That much friendliness.
I love the people are awesome.
So
they
there's
have a
a
great
good
relationship, and they love when you embrace their culture or you embrace their way of life. And then if you want to interview them, they're very like, yes, we'll tell you about it. Because just the fact that you come up here, if they go there, obviously, but you came here and you made an effort, and that's what his name slipped my mind, but I've known him for years.
Right.
He said, Dave, just the fact that you're here just really inspires, and it does.
That is cool.
And that's why Tori's gets tired, because I always want to come up here.
So that's something I didn't expect, like the relationships to be like that between the outsider white and the actual natives.
Yeah.
It's fine as long as you're cool, right? You show respect, you get respect type thing?
Exactly.
That's it.
That's exactly
Very
what it
basic.
is. But it doesn't just happen.
Right.
I've been coming up here for so many years, and then I'm in an elected office. They've elected me. And now that I've kept my word and I show up and I bring the deputies, take the work, then they want you.
They elected you too, because they're in the county?
Yes.
So the Navajos are actually electing you in office.
Yes.
But really their vote for you can't do too much for them because...
Yeah, because of the jurisdiction.
Because of jurisdiction.
Yes and no. We have those cross commissions that we have in place.
Okay.
And again, if a non-tribal, say they're a local business owner, if a non-tribal steals anything, I take the case.
Yeah. So they obviously want you here because there are non-tribal people here that commit crimes. And you're saying there's a gang issue on the reservation?
Yes. And a lot of reservations, you'll see that in the Navajo and Apache, some of the youth or adolescent groups, there is a gang problem.
So you think it's just like anywhere where kids are bored or not much to do?
No different than the inner city of LA or something like that. It's the same dynamics. The drug world, especially in youth, and that's where they're competing for business or they're competing for territory. Same thing. And
you have fentanyl up here?
Oh, too bad. Yeah, I hate to say yes, we do, but we do.
That took off when? A couple years ago, it got really popular?
So 2019, I remember we got our first big fentanyl bust. And that, because we have Interstate 40 that runs through our county.
Sure.
That is a big corridor for drugs from southern Arizona, the border, and then taking it back east. 2019, we got our first significant load of 6,000 or 7,000 pills. And I still remember it being a shocker. It was one of the larger in Arizona. But we're getting 60 to 70,000 loads, sometimes twice in a week. So we had housing back here that the township had given us.
They wanted you to rent a house? I'm sorry?
Red roof one. They wanted us to rent that. We rented that for a bit.
So what, just to hang out here?
No, so we'd have a deputy live in the community. So they would provide the housing because they really want the law enforcement present. Remember I was talking to you earlier about they're so spread out, They can respond to an hour that way, an hour that way. I have another resident deputy south of here in a community called Pinon.
Okay.
It's got a little higher crime rate. We have a little more need down there, and so we keep him down there. But I'm trying to hire another one to live up here.
Do you have any Navajo friends?
Well, just the ones that I've met through work. The judge here, she's a real good friend. She always invites me to traditional ceremonies, elder dances, and holiday events, and I bring my kids. I've done more dancing and powwows, and I love it. It's fun. Sometimes, they have a lot of good schools. They built a new school down in White Cone, brand new school facility. They built it all, and they never opened it. They got the infrastructure, the funding for the infrastructure through the Department of Education, the federal government, but then they have to supply the teachers and this and that. It just never came to fruition.
Shortage of teachers?
Yeah, you see a lot of that happen on the Navajo Nation, where they'll that jail, they built that jail and it sat empty for 4 or 5 years before they staffed it.
So they have the resources out here, huh?
Yeah, they got the the federal government grants and funding, and they get it, but it's just hard to get all the entities to get staffed and worked.
Former Miss Navajo Nation.
Yeah.
But once Miss Navajo Nation, always Miss
Always.
Navajo.
So she's actually running for tribal council.
Okay.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
And she works for Arizona State Treasurer, right?
Yeah, I did for a while. I'm also working with the president right now.
She does everything.
Okay.
Getting her master's
I
degree.
graduated in May.
Did you?
Yeah,
Nice.
from ASU.
Oh, I see you
For
rocking
you,
that.
what'd you major in?
I went to the business school there and I got my master's in management.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
You're on the wrestling team.
Yeah, high school wrestling team. My senior year, I won the state.
State of Arizona.
Utah.
State of Utah wrestling champion senior year. What weight class?
165.
Oh, wow. That explains your very firm handshake. Ouch.
Father-in-law passed on. He gave us the cattle and sheep.
Okay.
And I thought I was going to get away from everything, but I like it. Keeping me moving.
You're working sheep on the land.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
sheep and cattle.
You're out in the desert here somewhere?
We live up on top.
On top of that mountain?
Yes, sir.
Whoa. You're close to the stars up there?
Yeah. Look up when you go out, because there's no light.
Yeah.
They built this highway in 1963.
What was it like before? Just very remote.
Just dirt road.
Okay.
God, can we steal you? I used to talk to my dad and say, how long did it take you from Den Hocho to Flagstaff? I said, 1 whole day. Dirt road.
And that's 3 hours now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sheriff, this is 2019.
Yeah.
22 pounds of heroin, 1.5 pounds of fentanyl. And then this is just what, 1 or 2 years later?
2 years later.
Okay.
Yeah,
148. Wow, so from 1.5 to 148. And what about heroin?
Heroin's going to
60.
go down, but
So fentanyl's just sort of taken over heroin.
It's everything.
What, if anything, is the federal government or state governments doing to stop?
The state and local law enforcement, we're working. You know, the federal government's got the DEA and all that, but the problem is we have a porous border. And we have an open border policy, and they're just coming through.
So a lot of the product comes from China, then gets processed in Mexico, comes over.
Yep.
One thing we hear a lot on reservations are missing persons, especially missing women. What's that situation like these days?
So it's funny, we just saw President Nez. I met with him on Monday.
Yeah.
He had a big signing ceremony in Twin Arrows at the casino conference center, and he signed an executive order on the response plan, community response plan to that, because it is an issue.
Right.
For them. They call it the murdered and missing Indigenous women.
Is it a big problem right now?
Yeah, and it always has been.
Okay.
But it's one of those things that they're bringing to education on it and putting more resources to it. And
Okay.
most importantly, they're working with locals. When I mean local law enforcement, state officials, state, county, where we have those cross commissions where we're sharing of information.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the person goes missing on tribal land, a lot of times, sometimes they're recovered or the body's found off state. We're just working better together.
School bus.
They're not speeding, darn it. This yellow car kind of looks like he's Parnelli Jones, you know?
Some tailgating going on?
Yeah. They're all bad. All right, let's go with, let's just do the white one. Yeah. Navajo one traffic. Be at 365 on 160, it'd be a white van.
All right. Standard procedure.
Yeah, he's going to Cortez if you want to ride.
The vehicle came back clear out of Cortez, Colorado.
So everything's good. You know, when you stop a guy, you're looking for one impairment. You're looking for warrants, you're looking for valid driver's license, registration, insurance, make sure all that's good. Then you have the traffic violation. You can either cite them or you can just give them a warning. Obviously, it was just a safety thing with traveling distance, and so it's more of an education stop.
You're giving them a warning.
Yeah.
Is it ever super scary coming up on someone if they look sketchy? Not saying this guy, but in general, if they look sketchy and you're coming up on the car, well, he does a little bit actually.
Yeah. Yeah, at night, especially remote, with not having communications back with your dispatch. Yesterday we had a homicide in White Mountain Lake, and we had a vehicle description leaving the scene, and I happened to be close into the area. It was a white Cadillac Escalade, and that is a little more scary because you know that this vehicle just left the scene of a person who was shot, you know, numerous times.
Yeah.
So you know they're armed, you know they're willing to kill somebody. They just did. How desperate are they? So those situations, yeah, you're a little more anxious.
So you came up to him like ready with your gun or what?
No, we had 2 or 3 of us, and then we call them out.
Okay.
So you just get on the PA and you say, driver exit the vehicle, hands up. And then,
but how is that leaving home? You leave your family in the morning and you go out and you do that.
Yeah, especially when you got 5 mouths to feed and children, you know. And that's why I appreciate those that are so supportive of law enforcement, because they're doing a public service and they're just an average guy. You know, goes to church, goes to school, maybe he's a soccer coach, and he's a father, a mother, and he's a son, a daughter, and they're just living their life too.
And there's the risk you're going to get shot.
Yeah, just to keep you and I safe every day.
All right.
All right, let's get rid of this guy.
I'm like, how do you do it? Like, how does your family feel about it?
Right.
It's Pinion's rough. Super rough.
So would there ever be a point where you're like, that's just too much violence? I don't want to, like, it's not, you're not dealing with guns every day coming at you, but I'm just saying, would there become a point where you're like, this is too much risk to take on?
I think about that for those that work Seattle, Portland, Chicago. They don't have the backing of their city council. They don't have the backing of half their community. They want to defund them. They want to do those things. And they're putting their life on the line. Or they go and they take enforcement action to defend somebody, and then they get accused of a crime. I probably wouldn't keep doing it, because why would you do it? The city's given up on you. But in Arizona, I was telling you a little bit about my history. I feel like this is my calling in life.
Sure.
Historical connection there. And when you work in a community where you have so many people that are behind you, I was at this rally this morning with Tori. Rally. It was a school rally at the local school in Holbrook. It's Red Ribbon Week, you know, the drug free. Okay. And they get in there and they recognize all the officers and the deputies. They had me say a word. How do you not stay motivated to help them?
Right.
When you show up to their event and then they say, here, Sheriff, come speak, because we love you guys.
Sure.
You don't do it just for the recognition. You do it because you're like, oh, they want me here. They want me part of their community.
Right.
And they're depending on me. I like that.
So the overall goal is to get rid of bad cops and bad anything, because all professions have terrible people in them, and embrace the good ones.
I didn't clear that stop. Navajo one, I'll be clear the stop.
That was awesome. Thank you, Sheriff. Appreciate it. Tori, you guys are awesome. Appreciate it. All the best. I'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right, guys, another interesting view into another world that most of us don't know much about. Very interesting dynamic here on the reservation with the different jurisdictions. It almost feels like being in another country. That's what I felt on these reservations, is you're in the States, but you're sort of not. The beauty I've also found is everyone's cool. Every Native person I've come into has been hospitable and open and inviting. I haven't felt any tension at all. Just come in with respect and get respect. So this is part of a bigger Native series, you guys. I have videos all the way from Montana down now through Arizona. Thanks for coming along. Until the next one.